E. What if I told you that most of your success doesn't depend on your talent, but on what you do in the first few minutes of your morning? This isn't a motivational phrase. It's an uncomfortable reality that most people avoid facing. For years, I studied leaders, entrepreneurs, and people who achieve extraordinary results, and they all agreed on something that seems simple, but it's not. They don't start their day by reacting. They start by taking control. The first minutes of the day are not a minor detail. They are the point where you decide if you are going to direct your life or if you are going to let the world direct it for you. Every morning, you face a silent decision that defines the rest of your hours. Either you take control of your mind from the start, or you lose it even before you get up. In that moment, your mind is open, sensitive, ready to be guided, or to fall into chaos. If you choose with intention how to think, how to feel, and where to go, you enter the day with clarity and direction. But if you allow the automatic impulse to take over, you drag confusion, stress, and reactions throughout the day without realizing where the problem began. Most people start their day in the worst possible way. They postpone the alarm, pick up their phone, check messages, news, or problems that haven't even happened. That very common act alters your mental state, activates anxiety, and places you in a defensive position from the start. And when you start like that, everything becomes heavier. Deciding, concentrating, staying calm, or relating to others becomes more difficult. It's not a lack of capacity, it's a lack of direction from the very first moment of the day. People who achieve different results do exactly the opposite. They don't react, they design. They understand that their internal state determines what happens outside, and that's why they protect their morning as if it were a valuable resource. They take the time to organize their thoughts, adjust their energy, and focus on what truly matters. That discipline, repeated every day, creates a strong mind capable of staying firm even when things get complicated. Have you understood something key? Those first minutes either activate your best version or activate your disorder. Success doesn't appear by chance. It is the result of habits you repeat until they become part of you. And your morning is the ground where it all begins. There you build your focus, your energy, and your ability to move forward. You don't need to change your whole life at once. You need to master the start of the day. That decision, even if it seems small, has the power to change your entire course. Now, face an uncomfortable but necessary question. Do you control your attention, or does your phone control it for you? Because your attention is the most valuable thing you have. If you don't decide what to focus on at the start of the day, someone else will. A notification, a message, or a worry will take that space. And when you lose control of your attention, you also lose your energy, your peace of mind, and your ability to produce results. That is the silent trap that millions live in without realizing it. Today, most people wake up looking at a screen before they see the light of day. That small gesture activates an immediate chain in your mind. Your body goes into alert, your mind speeds up, and you start the day reacting. From there, everything costs more. Organizing yourself, thinking clearly, making good decisions. Every interruption steals a part of your focus, and when that repeats every day, you end up living tired, saturated, and always putting out fires instead of building solutions. I have seen this pattern over and over again in talented people. They don't fail for lack of ability. They fail because they surrender their mental control from the start of the day. Those who live reacting end up saturated. Those who start with intention live directed. The difference isn't in something complex, it's in how you start your morning. That first moment defines if you are going to lead your life or if you are going to survive the day. Your mind never stops, it is always producing thoughts. If you don't decide what to put in it from the start, it will fill itself with what it already knows. Worry, fear, pressure. It works like a garden. If you don't plant what you want to grow, what you don't want will appear. Not because you are weak, but because everything that is not cared for becomes disordered. The mind needs direction, it needs intention, it needs someone to take control, and that someone is you. The good news is that you can change it. Your mind can adapt, strengthen itself, and learn new ways of thinking if you train it consistently. Every morning you have the opportunity to create new ways of acting and leave behind patterns that limit you. It's not about motivation, it's about repetition. What you do every day ends up defining who you are and how far you go. That's why you need a clear system, not loose ideas, not attempts without direction. A system that allows you to start the day in control. The first step is to wake up with intention. Before you get up, decide how you want to feel, what is the most important thing you are going to achieve, and what kind of person you are going to be today. This simple practice changes how you face everything that comes after. When you have internal clarity, your actions stop being reactions. The second step is to train your mind in gratitude, not in a general way, but concretely. Thinking about specific things you value changes your focus, takes you out of the problem, and places you in possibility. When you train your mind to see what you do have, you begin to find opportunities where before you only saw obstacles. Your perception changes, and with it, your results. The third step is to visualize your day before you live it. Imagine in detail how you act, how you decide, and how you respond to challenges. It's not fantasy, it's mental preparation. When your mind rehearses success, your behavior follows. You reduce doubt, increase confidence, and enter situations with a clear advantage. You are already there in your mind. The fourth step is to move. Thinking is not enough. Define clear actions that bring you closer to what you want. Not urgent tasks or distractions, but actions that build your real progress. When you start the day executing what's important, you change how you perceive yourself. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who delivers. The fifth step is to decide who you are. Not waiting to feel ready, not depending on circumstances, but choosing with clarity the attitude and character with which you are going to act. When you define your identity from the start of the day, your decisions begin to align with it. You no longer act on impulse, you act out of coherence. And that coherence, repeated every day, transforms your results. The most common excuse is saying there isn't enough time, but the reality is different. It's not a lack of time, it's a lack of priority. Nobody finds time. Time is created when you decide to take total responsibility for your life. And that decision starts every morning in silence when no one sees you, but everything is defined. Extraordinary people don't wait for their schedule to sort itself out. They create space for what truly makes them grow. They understand that every minute they invest in their mind in the morning returns, multiplied in results, energy, and clarity. But here is the truth that many avoid. Your mind is going to resist, not because you are weak, but because it is designed to keep you in the known. Every time you try to change, excuses disguised as logic appear, and it is precisely in that moment that it is defined whether you move forward or stay the same. Progress doesn't happen where you feel comfortable. No important result is born in ease. Discomfort is the price of a stronger mind and a more focused life. When you decide to get up earlier, think before reacting, and choose your priorities before the world imposes them on you, you are training something that most people never develop: real control over yourself. That advantage isn't visible at the start, but over time it becomes impossible to ignore. Start small, but start seriously. 10 minutes each morning for several days might seem insignificant, but they are not. What you do in that time not only changes your day, it changes the way you see yourself. When you repeat this behavior, your mind begins to adapt, to create new ways of acting, to reduce the noise and increase clarity. You stop reacting on impulse and begin to make decisions with intention, and that difference changes everything. Consistency is the factor that separates those who advance from those who only try. It's not about doing a lot, it's about doing it every day. Each repetition sends a clear message to your mind: I am someone who delivers. And that message builds your discipline, your confidence, and your sense of control. Every morning that you choose to act, instead of giving in to excuses, you strengthen yourself. And over time, that strength becomes your natural way of living. Your environment also plays a decisive role. Although many underestimate it, your mind absorbs everything around it. And if you start the day amidst disorder, noise, or distractions, your thinking will follow that same pattern. That's why people who achieve real results take care of their morning space with precision. It's not a coincidence, it's strategy. Before facing the day, they prepare the place where their focus is built. A clean space without interruptions, and with clear intention, is not a luxury, it's a tool. Moving the phone away prevents you from losing control of your attention from the start. Having a notebook ready forces you to think clearly. Creating a calm environment makes it easier for your mind to focus. And when you set limits with those around you, you reinforce something more important than comfort: your discipline. Every detail sends a message, and that message shapes your behavior. When your environment is in order, your mind responds the same way. You think better, decide faster, and react more calmly. But when everything is chaotic, your mind will be too. Most people try to solve their lives without realizing that they start each day in an environment that works against them, and that sooner or later takes its toll. If you don't control what surrounds you ends up controlling you. And here is where this becomes even more important. The more disorder, pressure, or problems there are in your life, the more you need internal structure. When everything outside is uncertain, the only thing that can sustain you is the order you build within. Mornings stop being a simple start to the day and become a point of stability, a space where you regain control, even if everything else seems out of your hands. In difficult moments, you don't need to do more things. You need to do the essentials with greater intention. A well-built ritual doesn't change your reality immediately, but it changes the way you face it. It allows you to think clearly, act calmly, and stay firm when others collapse. That is the difference between reacting with desperation or moving forward with direction. Over time, this habit stops feeling like an obligation and becomes part of your identity. You no longer do it because you have to, you do it because it's who you are. And when that happens, you start to notice real changes. Greater focus, more energy, clearer decisions, and a constant sense of control. It's not magic. It's a direct consequence of repeating the right things for long enough. As your behavior changes, your environment also responds. People notice your way of acting, your clarity, and your discipline. Not because you announce it, but because you demonstrate it every day. You become someone reliable, focused, and hard to sway. And that kind of presence doesn't go unnoticed in any environment, whether personal or professional. Great transformations don't come from huge actions. They come from small decisions repeated with firmness. Every morning, you are building something, whether you realize it or not. You either reinforce disorder and reaction, or you strengthen control and intention. There is no middle ground. Everything adds or everything subtracts, and time takes care of amplifying the result. Your daily routine is more than a series of actions. It is the reflection of who you are choosing to be. Every habit you repeat sends a silent message, not only to your mind, but to everyone around you. It's not about what you say. It's about what you do when no one is watching. And when you choose well, even in the simplest moments, you begin to build a life that doesn't depend on luck, but on firm decisions made from the start of each day. Remember this, even if you don't like hearing it. The world doesn't need your tired, distracted, or reactive version. That version is already common. It's already everywhere. What is truly needed is your focused, conscious, and controlled version. The one that makes decisions with clarity and acts with intention. That version doesn't appear by chance. It is built. And if you don't build it, no one else will do it for you. There is a direct way to start creating it, and it's not comfortable, but it is powerful. Write a letter from your future version, from that you who already lives with discipline, purpose, and real results. Describe how they think, how they act, what decisions they make, and what they no longer tolerate. This is not a meaningless emotional exercise. It's a way to force your mind to see clearly who you need to become. When you write it, you stop imagining and start defining. That letter becomes a point of reference. Your mind needs direction. It needs a clear image to know where to move. And when you have that written vision, you no longer guide yourself by momentary impulses. You guide yourself by a higher standard. Every word you put there raises your internal level and reminds you that you are not here to react. You are here to lead your own life. Write it every morning before the world starts demanding your attention. Do it when your mind is still calm, before distractions enter. That moment is key because it is when what you think has the most impact. By repeating that vision every day, you are reminding your mind who you are, what you are building, and what you are no longer willing to accept in your life. There will be days when you don't feel like it, when you feel tired or unmotivated. And that's where this tool proves its value, because it doesn't depend on how you feel. It depends on what you decided. That letter becomes your reminder when you lose clarity, your guide when doubts arise, and your anchor when everything around you feels unstable. It's not motivation, it's direction. Over time, something begins to change without you noticing. Your decisions become firmer, your limits clearer, and your way of acting more consistent. You no longer react the same way, you no longer doubt as much, you no longer settle for the easy path. Because when you write from your future and act in the present based on that, you shorten the distance between who you are and who you know you can be. Now, I'm going to tell you something direct. Most people want to change, but almost no one is willing to sustain the process. They want quick results, but they don't want constant discipline, and that's why they stay in the same place. If you truly want to break that cycle, you need to do something different. You need to commit, not out of emotion, but out of decision. Commit for 30 days to this ritual. Do it even when you don't feel like it, even when you're tired, even when you feel it's not working, because it's in those moments that you are truly building character. People who achieve results are not the most motivated. They are the ones who act even when they don't want to. And that difference changes everything. Every day you follow through sends a clear message to your mind. I am someone who does what they say. And that repeated message transforms your identity. You start to think differently, act differently, and respond differently to life. Your focus improves, your emotions stabilize, and your energy stops being wasted on things that don't matter. When you start the day in control, the rest stops dragging you. You go from reacting to directing, from feeling lost to having clarity. And as the days go by, you realize something important. You are not just changing your mornings, you are changing the way you live. You are building a version of yourself that no longer depends on circumstances. But it all starts with a question you must answer with total honesty. What is the first thing that steals your control when you wake up? Identify it without excuses. It could be the phone, your thoughts, the habit of procrastinating. It doesn't matter which one it is. What matters is that you recognize it, because what you don't identify, you cannot change. Write it down as a declaration of commitment. Write, today I take control of my mornings. Make it public, make it real, and start acting based on that. If this message made you think differently, subscribe to the channel and share this video with someone who needs to regain control of their life. Because sometimes a single decision made with firmness can change everything. Start tomorrow, but do it seriously. Because when you decide to master your mind from the start of the day, you stop being just another person and begin to become someone who builds their own destiny.